Hey guys, welcome to a good old-fashioned growth updates. Do I look shiny? I feel very shiny. This room is very warm, and if I film in here for too long, I'll get very cranky. So we're not going to be in here for too long today. I have a few plants I've been saving for this video, and a lot of them are familiar favorites, and those tend to be shown the most because my favorite plants tend to grow the best because they are my favorite and I pay the most attention to them. I'm starting off strong with a plant that I've shown like countless times on this channel, but it has made the transition from exo to ambient so flawlessly, and it has to put out a new leaf. It's so good. This is my King of Spades by Red Crystallinum that was bred by Dania. Look at this beautiful thing. A few weeks ago in a repot, I repotted it into this big old pot. This one is I think this is a 10-inch pot, and I got this from Jing. She does sell them, but they cost a lot to ship, just FYI. I took a bottom cutting for Charmaine, and then I potted the top in this big thing in Tree Fern Pond. It has grown, you know, a fair amount of new roots. I can see a lot on the sides. It probably needs a water soon, but I don't want to water it while I'm holding it. Look at this new leaf. It's so symmetrical. I was kind of sad about the last leaf it put out because this one here was kind of growing behind plants. So in order to see it, I had to put it on top of this leaf, and it made it kind of a little bit bent and a little bit warpy. But this plant is so round, and it took after King of Spades so much. Some of the siblings of this plant from this batch that I've seen have thicker veins. So this one has a lot more thinner, more closely like King of Spades type of veins. The emerging color is a very kind of like orangey red, but the veins are quite red, and it's getting a little bit webbier as it matures. Like if you just compare it to its last leaf and the newest leaf, is just a little bit veinier, a little bit more intricate. I've only used this type of pot from Jing a handful of times since I got them, but I have been really liking them. I love how thick they are, but also they're quite bendy. They're not so hard and brittle that they could crack or break in half. I think it would take a lot to actually break this. Like look how bendy it is on the sides. So it really works well for massaging those roots out when you're repotting them. So I really do highly recommend them. I just wish that the smaller pots were just a little taller. That's my main complaint about round pots, is that they're never tall enough for what I like. I like a lot of vertical room. It just like it feels more flexible to me, and I feel like it doesn't require repotting as frequently for Anthurium. So this one has just been growing right here, right at the corner of my new IKEA shelf, and I see it every day, and this leaf has been expanding so flawlessly. It's so symmetrical. I was taking a look at this here. I was a little bit concerned. I thought that was pest damage, but upon closer inspection, it just looks like water residue that I'll probably wipe off once the leaf is fully hardened. Even though I've grown plenty of Anthurium from seed or from sprout to maturity, or if you consider this maturity, it never ceases to amaze me, that cycle, like that growth cycle. Cycle is really not the right word. I'm thinking like growth journey, there you go. Because I can remember so clearly sitting here filming that haul of getting plants from Daniel. I had got a whole bunch of plants from the States, and she had sent me this as a little seedling. I think it was like 3 or 4 leaves, and I remember the leaves are maybe about this big, but they're really like puffy, and they're almost a little bit bumpy, and I thought it was so interesting for King of Spades Red Crystallinum to be so bumpy. This newest leaf, not so bumpy. This last leaf, not so bumpy. I just remember when it was little, I was like, you know, if you told me this seedling was a Lux hybrid or a Lux hybrid hybridized back to velvet, that there's a little bit of luxuriance in there, I would have believed you because it was so evenly bullate. But anyway, seeing this plant and seeing my King of Spades hybrids, I have one with Dark Phoenix, I have one with Red Crystal Port. I almost forgot about that one. Seeing the variety of plants come out of it, but all kind of resembling King of Spades. I will say King of Spades is not easy to breed with. There's a lot of like unsuccessful plants that come out of it, either seeds that rot or don't germinate or weak little plants, but the ones that work out make it worth it to breed with King of Spades, even as seed or pollen. Like you kind of have to do a little bit of trial and error, because I don't think it's necessarily always that all King of Spades are bad breeders, but mine seems to be like a poor pollen parent. I've never used it as seed. I've seen other people who have used their King of Spades as seed parents very successfully, but it's not great for pollen. And like I've seen people report the other way around. So you kind of have to try it out. But either way, I think it's so worth it to try breeding your King of Spades. Dania's King of Spades was actually a King of Spades that was purchased in around the same time as mine. Maybe a little bit after, but it all came from Haji Uli. And this would have been around 2021, maybe like beginning of 2021. So I'd like to think that they're siblings. So it's kind of nice that they went to different parts of the world and then like a little sibling came back to me. I don't know. I just have a lot of feelings. Little update on my garden center Clarinervium. I don't really know what to call it. It doesn't look like a typical Clarinervium, but it is properly looking like a plant now and not like a seedling. I'm getting a little bit more confident growing Clarinervium. It's always been a little bit of a tough plant for me to grow. For me, it's letting it dry out more than my other Clarinervium, but there are definitely points that I let it dry out too much. Crispy, but at least it's growing. And this one is so fun. So this one was from a garden center called 99 Nursery. I believe that's the one. I always get them mixed up, but I'm pretty sure it's 99 Nursery here in like the greater Vancouver area. It's probably from one of those large growers like Burnaby Greenhouse or something like that. But this one, I looked at the Clarinervium tray and I found this like very webby looking one. And at the time, I think I recall it having a little bit of like a purple tone to it. So I didn't want it. I told Charmaine to buy it and then she chopped off the bottom for me, gave it to me, and I grew it. It grew into 2 separate growth points. I separated them. So the other one lives downstairs. This bigger one lives up here in the plant room. And I really, really love it. I'm so glad that one of us bought it. I'm really grateful that she gave me a cutting. It definitely looks like a Clarinervium, but it's just like a little bit more intensely veined. I like to call it my lightning clary. I don't know what else to call it, but if I'm ever talking about my lightning clary, this is what I'm talking about. So I have this and the Queen Clarinervium from Dania, who got it from Cartel Down. I also really love that one. I'll just show it to you right now. Since we're on Clarinervium, the Queen Clary lives on that shelf. The other one lives on this shelf. It's all in ambient. The other one is living under Barina lights. I guess it gets some like residual light from the Soltex, but I have Soltex on the ceiling. And I actually think I should dim the Soltex a little bit more because even this is ducking a little bit away from the light. You can see how the leaves are turning down a little bit. This was the last leaf that hardened off and it's just put out this new one. And the petiole on this one's really long. So I'm wondering if he's gonna give me a little bit of a size up. I'll give it a little bit of water. I haven't been watering my Clarinerviums very deeply. Like they have leca at the bottom, so I try to avoid over watering it. Maybe I give it a little bit more since it's putting out a new leaf and it's flowering. But yeah, I probably should dim the Soltex a little bit. I think I have it on like 80% full strength right now. Maybe I'll drop it down to like 60%. And then maybe I can get this leaf to just face forward like this. By the way, this pot is from IKEA. I really like it. I have been really liking their new pots. I don't know how new they are, but they've been having the same pots for so long, and they finally put out some new things that just look a little bit, it's just like a different color palette. It's like this, and there's like kind of more sagey greens. The only thing I will say I don't love about it is that the inside is unglazed, so it's harder to clean once you get it dirty. But I thought it was very cute. Okay, so this next one is one of my favorite plants that I got this year, and that is my Bvet by DF from NXE Plants. We did a little trade. I gave them a Dark Phoenix by King of Spades, and they gave me the top cutting of this Bvet by DF, which was, it turned out to be, I didn't know that this was their favorite specimen from the seed batch, and it has been growing so well. It's still potted in their mix. This is gonna be repetitive, but I feel like people wanna know what their mix is for this plant, and it's, what I can see is perlite, pumice, stratum, black lava rock, and there's a leca layer at the bottom. So I've been growing it basically semi-hydro, and it's been rooting like non-stop. It's put out 2 leaves, I think, in my care. Maybe, was it 3? 2? There was a pretty soft leaf when it came to me. Yeah, maybe I only grew 2 leaves. So it was this leaf that grew my care, and then this leaf. And I was really pleasantly surprised by the size up on this one. It's not like insane or anything, but it's a good, decent upsize. And I wasn't really expecting it to upsize much anymore because it was getting pretty full in the pot, but it is now in caterpillar. I can see its first caterpillar in here. I'm really excited for the next leaf. I want to repot this, but I'm a little bit scared of pissing it off. I don't know, like it's been very easy going and a very strong, healthy plant. So maybe I shouldn't be scared. I'm just, I guess, scared because I don't know what I'm scared of actually. I'm like hemming and hawing over if I should try to like make more of this mix or just mix it this like root ball into my DIY pond, which really, the main difference in my DIY pond is that there's no stratum and there's zeolite in there instead. That's probably what I'll end up doing. But yeah, this plant has been wonderful. It has been such a joy to grow, and I'm so pleased that it has not declined in my care. And Nick, Corbin, if you're watching this, your little baby is doing so well. I'm also very pleased that it's getting quite dark in my tent. Like this is the fully hardened leaf. This is not quite fully hardened off yet, so it's a little bit greener. I'm loving that the sinus is getting a little bit wider. It's a little bit wavier. It really, honestly, kind of has a very similar shape to my Midnight Velvet, just different colors. This is like full green, whereas my Midnight Velvet has more pinks and stuff in it. The texture is getting a little bit firmer with each leaf, and I just can't wait to grow this big. This is a plant that I'll try to keep in my tent as long as possible, so I'm willing to move other plants that I think can work well in ambient out and keep this in there. I would just love to see this really big. I really have been super into, or like going back into, the really sharp, pointy, dark, minimally veined anthurium. I've been really drawn to photos of papillonatum, like the really sharp, pointy ones, Ralph Linum, Fort Sherman, that kind of thing. And this very much ticks all those boxes for me. So Nick and Corbin, if you're watching this, I am very grateful for this trade. I hope the plants are doing well for you. And if you guys by now don't know NXE plants on YouTube, make sure you go check them out. I'll link them in the description. I feel like most of the people watching this, like people who watch my channel, know NXE plants, but just in case, you should check them out because it's like being educated all the time, but in a very chill way. Okay, sticking on the wide-ish sinus theme, I have two plants that I have realized are starting to look very similar. They're from different breeders, they're different crosses, similar kind of parents in the cross, but yeah, they're starting to look very similar. So the first one is this Port by Carla from the Homebody. It is so cute. So this is the last leaf you would have seen. I showed this to you when this was a kind of fresher leaf, and it's since put out this leaf. It's getting veinier and veinier, and it's keeping that very wide V sinus. It's a little bit wavy on the margins, right? So this one, okay, this one really needs a repot. I totally forgot in the last video when I was pulling plants that really needed repotting. I should have done this one. Let me just pull some dead leaves off. And then here's a plant you haven't seen for a really long time, maybe not since I first got it as a seedling, but this one is Carla Pap by FTG Self. So, I mean, not really similar parents. The only common denominator is Carla. But this one was bred by Pau and Josh, and just look at how similar they are. Just different in color, but the veins, the shape. This one has been growing in my Millsbow cabinet, and my Millsbow somehow got thrips. I found thrips on the odd plants in there. There's old thrips damage on this leaf. And this leaf got it pretty bad. This leaf is pretty unscathed, but it has been growing pretty well in there, like minus the thrips. And this is the newest leaf it put out. It's so pretty. It's so pointy. In the spirit of getting rid of duplicates, so to speak, these are not duplicates. These are different crosses, but they look very similar. In the spirit of that, I should be selling one of them, but I just can't bring myself to because I love Pau and Josh. I love Fabian Ryan. It's so much easier to sell off plants that I made than plants that my friends made. And I don't know. I can't bring myself to do it. Maybe I'll grow them more to maturity and then like cut them and sell cuttings. But in theory, as I was making my decluttering purge video last week, this should have been on the chopping block, like one of the two, and I should have decided like which one I was going to keep. But I feel like I would have been coming to the same conclusion that I am coming to today, which is keep it and figure it out later. Like get rid of something else, but keep both of these. So back to this one. This one is, like I said, Carla Pap by FTG Self. Josh's FTG Crystallinum is a very wide flat sinus one, which they're hoping that like some of the offspring from that would create a wide sinus, but more minimally veined, darker, like kind of Carla-esque plant. This one looks like it's never gonna be flat sinus, but maybe it'll get wider. That's my hope. I also hope that the lobes get a little bit pointier, but this is already pretty pointy. So I'm already really happy with this as it is. It's really dark and the veins are just very bold and striking. But yeah, this one has been really nice to look at. Again, like I think I have accomplished what I wanted to do with my Mills bow when I got rid of all my Hoya. Actually, there's only one Hoya left in there now, and that's my Yves Rocher, which I still want to get rid of. So there will be no Hoya in there to kind of like vine everywhere. And then I have a couple of orchids, but then like Anthurium there to keep my interest. I also have an Alocasia in there. But anyway, just putting some aroids in there has been accomplishing what I want to, which is making me more interested in the cabinet. I water it maybe a little bit late, but I do water it. I'm not watering it like every 3 weeks like I used to. So that's just a little side update for my Mills bow. I'm really glad I did that little slight refresh of just getting rid of some old and then putting in more plants that I'm actually interested to visit. Last plant in the sharp and pointy category. I don't know if I would necessarily categorize this as sharp because it's also like weirdly round in some way. But this is the newest leaf on my Fortune Ralphinum by Dress Carla. Not long ago, it made a batch of berries, and this is the first leaf since the berries. It was like kind of emerging as the berries were like ripened and like coming off, so it's kind of like overlapping a bit. It's looking extremely slender and sharp because it kind of like curved back on itself. I feel like that's just kind of like a characteristic of this plant a little bit sometimes, but what I mean about it being round in some ways is that like the top of it is like a wide sinus, but like they're not pointy. They're very round, kind of chubby. The blister variegation is continuing, but it really only kind of stays up here, which I'm totally fine with. I don't want it taking over the whole plant and warping everything. I love how the new leaves have a very blushy baby pink back. And I really love how minimal the veins are, but how they are kind of a little bit more visible and intense right at the sinus. I will have some seedlings for sale at our next restock, which will be, preliminarily speaking, I think we're going to set it for September 3rd, so this week. We haven't fully confirmed the date yet because Jing literally got back from holiday yesterday, and then we were like trying to figure out before I go on holiday. We're trying to fit one restock in there. So right now I'm saying September 3rd, and if that is the case, then great. I'm telling the truth, but I'll put all the details in the description. I'll maybe put a pinned comment just in case, because some people complain that they missed the announcement. And I probably should have said that at the beginning of the video, but I'll leave it in the description. But yeah, this plant plus its sibling made babies. This one is the mother plant. So since the weather will be pretty good for shipping at the beginning of September, I'm gonna try to let go of some of those then. There will be more in the future in case you missed it, but the first set will be going out with that restock. I had been putting off repotting this, and even though it's needed to repot for a while because it was producing berries, and now it's ready. And I guess it does have the room, so I'll probably put it into, this is like a 5-inch square pot. I'll probably put it into like maybe an 8-inch, and I'll probably keep it in tree fern mix and amend it with pon and maybe some extra bark. And yeah, that'll be a nice little refresh for this plant. Okay, lastly, I have a non-anthurium for you and an update. Not even really an update, but kind of an update. A couple of months ago, I did a little plant haul, and a part of the haul was a little package from my friend Justin, who lives in Ontario. He's potting it out there on Instagram, and he sent me a little corm of a Alocasia pink nobillis that I wanted. I had a green nobillis, and it was my boyfriend's favorite plant that I owned. And somehow I killed it. I don't know how really, but I killed it. I gave a corm to Charmaine and then it just died. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but he gave me an Alocasia pink nobilis corm and I put it into stratum, like a little cup of stratum. I watered it, put it in my dome. That corm rotted. I don't know why. He said they can be finicky like that. So he sent me 2 more like sprouted corns with leaves. I'm telling you, he's so nice, but I didn't show it to you. I wasn't sure. I didn't want to show it to you and just like kill it again. So those 2 plants he sent me were already like on their first leaf. They had some roots. I think one was growing in leca, but he sent it to me in moss. Both of them were fully green first leaves, but he said there's a good chance that they'll grow in a variegated leaf. And I'll just show it to you. This is one of them. So it was like a fully green first leaf and it grew this. It's like a half moon with marble on the side. It's working on its next leaf. I potted it into my DIY pond mix mixed with some stratum. It's in a little parfait cup, no drainage. It's been growing in a dome, so fully enclosed dome. And then the second one was also fully green on the first leaf. The second leaf, huge, and it has variegation, and it's just popped this one, which looks like maybe not half moon, but maybe it's like chunkier variegation. I don't really want to unfurl it too much, but it looks like it extends most of that side of the leaf. And then this half has like speckles down the side. And they're going to be ready for a proper pot pretty soon. Like, I can't believe I have two pink nobillis now. He was telling me that there's two types of pink nobillis. I didn't know this, but in looking at photos, this looks like a different, not the plant itself, but the type of variegation looks a little bit different. This definitely looks pinker in person than on camera. The camera doesn't really pick up the pink that well, but it's also not as pink as the other ones I've seen. So I don't really know what the different types are. I'm just happy to be involved in the process. I know nothing about Alocasia, especially all the variegated varieties. Yeah, this one looks a little bit more pink than this one. I don't know if it's a light thing, but this one, the leaf is not even fully unfurled, and it appears to be pushing out its next leaf already. But I'm really impressed with how big this plant got, and I'm really happy to have this. Like, I think Alocasia nobilis, with the limited experience I had with that one plant that was full green, was a finicky alocasia. Like, I have a few finicky alocasia in my past, one of them being Alocasia watsoniana. So I want to say this might be a plant that I would be wary of growing in ambient, because I find that alocasia for me in ambient, in the cold months, they just don't grow, or they grow a ton of flowers, which then pulls a bunch of energy, and then they start dropping leaves, and it's just kind of like looks so sad for half of the year or like 3/4 of the year. And then like in the peak heat of the summer, it grows a few leaves for me, and then we're back into like flower city. And I really don't want that with this plant. So I'm gonna try to grow this inside of an exo, or inside of my tent, or inside of my Mills bow, for as long as I can. Because I know these can get quite tall. We'll see. We will see. But little update, not update on the pink nobilis. I now have two. It's not the one I originally showed you. But if you get a full green leaf on the first leaf off of a corm, off of a variegated alocasia, there's still hope for the second leaf, because this happened to both of these plants. So that is all the growth updates I wanted to show you this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah!